everybody. What's going on? Welcome to the BBLTV Money Show. My name is Stephen Wicks. I'm your host, and we are joined with our illustrious co-host, Mr. Ron Garnett of BBL.CashTheFund.net. Mr. Ron, how you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you, Stephen?
Man, I'm doing peachy. You know, we are in Georgia, so, you know, got to do peachy. So, man, I'm excited about, this week. It's been a very interesting week. And today, folks, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, what we do on this show, we talk about business funding, we talk about business finance, we talk about business in general. So if you have any topics that you want to bring up, any questions about funding or any questions about business in general, Mr. Ron is a consultant. He's been in that field for quite a while, many years, and has also been a scored mentor. So he has a lot of knowledge about business. And so if you have any questions at all, go ahead and participate. We're live right now on Facebook, BBLTV Money Channel on Facebook. And we're also live on YouTube on the BBLTV channel. So again, put in your comments. We'll be able to see it, bring it up on screen, and get Mr. Ron's input on it. We have the benefit of his knowledge right here live on the show. So this week, Mr. Ron, you're out there dealing with entrepreneurs and, talking to them about business funding and everything. Anything happened this week that was sort of interesting that you think that people might be able to benefit from just off the top of your head? Can you think of anything?
Well, I think we've talked on this before, but something happened where I've been dealing with people who were in business, and they needed money for expansion or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were in business, and way you do like a signature loan, which we were talking about, unsecured loan, is you have to show you can pay the money back. Mm-hmm. But there's a tension there because business owners will go to their accountants and say, I made this money, I don't want to pay no taxes. Okay. So what they will do is they will, on their taxes, deduct everything. And they will have a business that says, we made X amount of dollars, I'm the owner, but I made $10,000 or $5,000. Okay.
All right.
But then they will say, well, I want to apply for a loan. And the lenders or the banks will say, well, how much money did you make? You need to produce your income tax record for 2 consecutive years to see what your income is.
Okay, let me stop you right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, anybody that's watching at home, what's happening is this dynamic that I've personally dealt with and I've seen many other entrepreneurs deal with. You're trying to say, how do I pay as little taxes as possible? And so what you're doing is you're setting up a scenario where you're showing this amount of profit, right? You've got revenue and you got all these expenses and these deductions that you can take so that they can minimize the amount of taxes. But what you're doing is that when you show this amount of profit and you're going to try to get a loan either through a bank or through an organization like Mr. Ron's private lender, you're not showing that you can pay it back. You're not showing that your business is profitable because on your taxes, you're only showing this amount of profit instead of, a healthy, thriving business. So you've got some things systemically to look at. The way that you're trying to earn money is through saving by paying taxes. And sometimes it's not the best approach at that stage when you're trying to get funding. Is that right?
Yes, I mean, exactly. No one wants to pay taxes, but if you apply for funding, especially with a small business like a subchapter S or a partnership with an LLC, your profit is rolled over into your personal income. Mm-hmm. So if you are a self-employed individual, you own a company, and you say, I want to borrow $50,000 or $75,000 to expand my business. and you have a income of $10,000 because you've taken so many deductions, so I'm going to pay any taxes, or a loss in some cases, you immediately disqualified from from funding, because the banks look at what you said you made, and you could say, well, no, I really made $200,000. I just did that so I won't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But these people who are funding you are not your friends. They don't know you. They're looking at the numbers, the paperwork. So the underwriter is saying, if you said you made $10,000 on your taxes, I think you made $10,000 on your taxes.
Right.
So at $10,000, how are you going to pay back $100,000, $50,000 loan if you don't have any income? Or you're making clearing like $800 a month? How are you going to pay back the loan? So I ran into that situation in the last couple of weeks, where people who I know are making money decided, I don't want to pay taxes. And they go there to the accountant, I don't want to pay their taxes.
Yeah.
And you look at your income taxes and you don't make any money, you don't qualify. Generally, rule of thumb, unless you are making at least $30,000 or more plus, you can't even get through the door.
Okay.
They would even consider it. It's got to be at least $30,000. Now, and they go by what you said you made.
And so when you said make $30,000, you're talking about profit. You're not talking about gross revenue.
No, you're talking about when you do your taxes, what your adjusted income is. Your income is, what did I make? Did I make $30,000?
Mm-hmm.
So you might end up having to pay a little bit in taxes, but you can qualify for many other loan products if you make that money. I mean, now, if you are a W-2 employee, all you got to do is put your W-2 in, because it shows what you make, your W-2. But if you can manipulate it, if you're an entrepreneur, self-employed, that's what you make. So, and generally, if someone's lending you money and you go back and say, well, let me go ahead and, amend my taxes, you already have put them on notices that, well, I don't know what this person makes. Are they trustworthy or whatever? And remember, with an unsecured loan, the money is put in your account. And you end up doing what you want to do with it. Nobody looks at it once they go and give you the money.
Right. So, guys, we're talking about people who actually looking at their tax situation incorrectly, the wrong way. Instead of showing profit so that you can go out and get loans to grow your business, a lot of people are trying to pay as little taxes as possible. And so in that, they're showing this very minute amount of profit, and then they can't then go get a loan to grow their business. So it's a problem that's out there. Mr. Ron experienced that this week. And so he's sharing all of these tips for us, all those small entrepreneurs who may be out there and don't have a consultant, don't have a tax attorney or somebody to actually help them out with some of this stuff. And they're kind of doing it on their own, and they're making some decisions that might be negatively impacting their opportunities to get funding. So how many of you out there, just curious, if you're watching this either live or in the replay, have experienced a little bit of what we're talking about? We'd love to get your feedback. Or if you know somebody who's also actually been in that situation where they were trying to save on their taxes, and they showed this little bit of profit so that they could pay as little taxes as possible, but then that's now preventing them from showing the the profit they need so that they can get a business loan. And we're
Yeah,
talking about,
income
Ron, that could be potentially thousands of dollars in funding that they're missing out on.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding they're missing out on. Because, what everybody looks at is big boys. Yes. I mean, if you own if you are a majority stockholder in a major corporation, personally, Bill Gates, a billionaire, they may not pay a lot of taxes, but they have a corporation behind them that can get funding because the corporation has the ability to raise money, either through stocks or getting loans or whatever. If it's just you and your partner, 2 or 3 of you, you can't compare yourself to Microsoft or GM or Ford or what those people are doing, because you have to personally back every loan that you get. So they're going to look at you to pay the money back. Even if you have your company makes $1 million and you're the sole owner of it, and you want to borrow some money, whether you go to a bank or you go through me, they're going to look at your personal income. What did you make? So you really have to understand you can't compare yourself to other people, what they've done. So look at the world as it is. I mean, theoretically, you can do anything. But a lot of times, but we're trying to be practical here. We're trying to give you day-to-day answers, because I remember what it was like starting a business. And I think I said this before. You're going from one bank to another, and you walk in the bank, and you know they're not going to give you any money. They know they're just humoring you. What they do is they will make you sit at those little chairs outside the offices while they're on the phone, talking to somebody, stuffing papers. And you got the half an hour. Then they bring you in there and, looking at the watch, giving you like 5 or 10 minutes of time and say, well, we can't do nothing for you. And it happens again and again and again, where you feel hopeless. And that's a hurting feeling. I mean, you really get defeated if you go through that situation.
Right. Yeah. So again, guys, if anybody out there, if you can testify to what we're talking about how having a wrong tax strategy can negatively impact your opportunities to get funding, go ahead and drop us a line if you know anybody in that situation, or if you need somebody who needs to hear this. Maybe you know someone in business and they're a small business owner, and that's been their strategy, to try to show as little income as possible so that they can pay little taxes. But again, that is severely impacting their ability to get large amounts of money for funding, which is available. That's why Mr. Ron is in business. He's in business to get us money, to get us funded. But we've got to have our act together. So when we're out there trying to show the IRS that we got this amount of profit, Mr. Ron can't then go to the private lenders and say, hey, give this man $100,000 or this woman $100,000 when their income is like this. Okay. So, right. We got to do what we need to do to help. So Mr. Ron can help us. Okay. Yes. So, that's one of the things that happened this week. And I saw a couple of articles. And again, guys, if you want to participate, go ahead and please leave us a comment. We'll bring it up on the air. If you have a question about funding or business, let us know. We want you to be involved. Again, this show is for you. This network is for you. The BBLTV network is all for our members and for anybody else who wants to join in and participate. But there are a couple of things in the news, Mr. Ron, I saw that I wanted us to talk about. And let me just go ahead and pull that up here. So, I saw this, that there's in Michigan. So if you're in Michigan, the Small Business Development Center has a pitch competition for Black-owned businesses. So if you know anybody in Michigan, give them a heads up. This is an opportunity that's out there. And do a search, do a Google search for pitch competitions. If you're just starting out in your business and you're trying to look for funding, there are these competitions around the country where they have these small amounts of prizes, so to speak. So for this one, it's $25,000. It's over $26,000 in prizes. So you can use some of that money to help you pay down some past debt, right? Mr. Ron, we talked about that. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I mean, number one, it forces you to think about your business and make it a coherent presentation so you know what you're talking about. I'm going to backtrack a little bit, but I said I started this business when I started out teaching a course in business plan writing. I would be in a class with 15, 20 students, and I would ask them, what is your business? And a lot of them could articulate what their business was. They could not describe what they wanted to do. A pitch competition makes you think about, well, what business am I in? What am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to sell? Because you're always selling something if you're an entrepreneur. That's number one. It helps you with your mental process and your planning. Number two, the money is helpful too. Now, the money is not a be-all and end-all of your business. It can be used to make yourself more attractive for funding, such as you do the pitch competition. You get $5,000 or $10,000. That may not be enough to get your business off the ground, but it may be enough to get your credit straight so that you get rid of collections or past due bills and whatever. So when you do apply for funding, you might qualify for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in funding because you got a better and clean credit history.
Yes.
So use it as a springboard. I always tell people, if you come to me, get the money to make more money. Go to this pitch competition, get grants, get everything you can, and use it to make money. The worst thing you can do is, in my opinion, just my opinion now, is to try and borrow money to survive. I mean, because you're already behind the 8 ball. And if you are using money to survive, not making any money, you're just holding off the inevitable, because sooner or later you got to start paying that money back. If you use it to survive and pay off past due debt, and when the time comes to start paying the money back, if you're off any better, you're going to be behind with more bills in 3 or 4 months. So you got to be very judicious with this money and plan to see, how can I use this money to make more money?
Yeah, I think people need to understand that one of the biggest things you can do as an entrepreneur is to make sure that your credit history is strong. And so if your credit is strong, just like as an individual, when you have a strong credit score, that can have a huge positive impact on your life. And as a business owner, the same holds true, that if you're a business owner and your credit is pristine and is in a good place, wow, the funding, the growth, the opportunities, people will be throwing money at you for you to do whatever it is that you want to do. So what you need to focus on is your strategy. And so getting with consultants like Mr. Ron has spots available where he goes and he actually strategizes with you on your business, on how you can grow for this quarter. For example, one of the things that people don't think about is the holiday season. The holiday season is upon us. It's here. It's now. Most people will do the majority of their Christmas shopping before Thanksgiving. And that's a statistic. I can't remember it, but it's a very high number of people will already have their Christmas shopping completely done. And so by the time Black Friday hits, that's when like this big, huge day. So maybe they're doing planning and maybe they're saying, okay, I want to buy a TV for grandma. And so I'm going to do some purchasing on Black Friday. How is your business going to be positioned to take advantage of the holiday season? Or as what happens with a lot of people, you say, well, that's the slow time of the year for me because I'm in a type of business. I'm not in a retail business, so I don't really make a lot of money during the holiday season because everybody's trying to spend money on gifts and whatnot. There's ways that you can strategize and come up with ways to make money even during the holiday season if you have the benefit of sitting down, making a plan, having a consultant, going over this stuff with someone who can help you. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's very important, and you need to look at what happens to a business during Christmas, this Christmas holiday season, because people are spending money. And if you are in a business where people don't buy much during the holiday season, you need to plan for maybe how you can look for hidden opportunities or look who has made money in my industry during this holiday season. Or if you can't do that, store up your money. Like what's that like? The animals do in the store, like the squirrels store up the nuts for the winter.
Squirrel away.
Store
Right.
away, and so they can make it through this season, because it's not just the holiday season, but think about it. October, November, December. But the bills come due in January. And so people may be waiting until income tax returns, which might be February or March before it comes up. So you might have like a 3 or 4 month lull there. And you need to plan for, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to stay afloat? Because with every business, you always have the concept of overhead and fixed cost. Most people do not really get the full impact of business until they understand the cost of overhead. That's those costs that go ahead when nobody walks through the door. Nobody pays you any money. And you got to pay out money just to keep the doors open in the hope that somebody comes in. And if you're in a service business, you might have lower overhead, but you still have overhead. I mean, you still have an office. You might have staff. You got electricity. You got this. You got that. And if people aren't really spending money, if they're spending money on gifts, on parties, whatever, they are spending it on you. They are spending it on you. And you have to learn how to ride that tide, that downturn, to figure out, well, what am I going to do? And you don't start doing that in November. That might be in June and July that you start looking at, well, I need this to make it through the night, or make it through this season. And I will tell you one thing that you might want to discuss with the audience, and is that nobody wants to lend you money when you're broke, when you're hurt. If you are desperate for money, that's not the time to ask for funding. If you're doing really great in March or April or May or June or July, and you know my income's going to be down in October, November, December, apply for what you need, the funding, while you're riding high. Because you got to make yourself attractive to these funders.
Yeah. So this article here that we brought up says that nearly half of consumers will actually boost their holiday spending. And so what I wanted to bring up on the Money Show here today is that, again, you need to sit down, you need to strategize for the holiday season. It's almost too late. I guess it's never too late, right? But you have to sit down and think about this last quarter of the year. You should have did it a little bit last quarter, but go ahead and look and strategize and say, maybe there's a promotion that you can run. Maybe you can have a holiday party and invite some of your top clients, or you've got to strategize for this part of the year. You can't just shut down and say, well, this is a slow part of the year for me, so I'm not going to do anything. You've got to milk this thing for everything it's got and look at it from a lot of different perspectives, right? I remember I talked to somebody that was in the fireworks business, and I was like, wow, so it must be pretty slow for you if it's not like the 4th of July or, some of the New Year's celebrations with all the fireworks. And they say, no, we're busy all year. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, because during these other parts of the year, we're planning for this. We're setting up, they're utilizing all year, even though their busiest season is what we typically would expect. They're strategizing and doing things behind the scenes all year long. And so you got to look at every season, every period of your year and just say, how can we best use this for our advantage? And so that'll give you a strategic, leg up, so to speak, if you want to survive.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's why planning is so important. Generally, you can work your way around almost anything if you take a logical, reasonable approach and try and deal with situations. Now, that means being, not just hoping things get better, but really taking steps to really improve what you are doing and what you're offering. And that never stops. And I will give you a perfect example. My co-host here, Stephen Wicks, about 2 weeks ago, I told him something that I was trying to do to boost my business. And I told him why I paid, what happened. And he started laughing. We were on he fell off the screen laughing at me.
No.
I said, wow. Was it that bad? He said, yes. You're going in my area of expertise, and you got taken for a big ride. I said, yeah, but when he actually, see this little square right here, I couldn't see his face because he fell off the floor. He fell on the floor laughing at me. So we always make mistakes. We always have to improve.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, is that not true?
No, well, I was just kind of shocked. I was shocked at the amount that you said. So, but
okay, and the results I got, right? A lack of results I got.
Yeah.
And so what I guess the point is, if you make a mistake, the past is the past, and try and build. If you messed up this Christmas season, don't mess up next Christmas season, okay?
Right.
I mean, really, think about it, and take a more of a logical approach and talk to different people. I mean, and get you can talk to me. I mean, as I said.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
As I said, the reason we're doing this show is that I know how hopeless it feels. I mean, it is really hopeless when you actually go into those banks or whatever, and the people aren't going to help you. They're just doing it so they don't so they can say, well, I talked to this person, I talked to that person, but I couldn't do nothing for them. And what we're trying to do here is say, you do have options. We can help you. And just call in and we'll see what we can do for you. I mean, we hope you will just take advantage of the situation, because I've been there. That's the worst thing. You get all dressed up in a suit, you get shaved, you get your hair cut, and you have these projections, what you can do, your credentials, and you look like Bozo the Clown. They look at you like you're nothing. That's where you feel. And when it happens to you 4, 5, 6 times, and you just really feel bad. And I tell you one last thing, where I just almost gave up. In fact, I did give up. They all said, go to see these people. They will help you with the money. They do minority funding. And you go in there and talk to the guy, and he's on the phone with somebody else and talking about, I've never acknowledged you. You and they were half hour, you're on the phone like 25 minutes talking to somebody else about something that doesn't even concern you. Half the phone said, we can't help you. That happened to me. That's why I'm doing this show, to give people some ray of light, because I never had one. That's it.
Wow. That's powerful. I told you, I think I've told you the story I had when I went to the SCORE office back in the day when I was a young man in my early 20s, and I felt very, discouraged, so to speak. I didn't feel encouraged. And so that's why BlackBusinessList.com is something that, I'm just going to keep riding until the wheels fall off, because I was that guy. I had a lot of ambition and just didn't have a mentor or somebody to help me make the right decisions. And so that's where I feel like this organization is for. It's for people. It's not for the folks who already got your act together. Great. Yay. Black Enterprise is for you. Let Black Enterprise put you on the cover and show how many millions of dollars you made. That's great. But there are other people in this country, millions, who have ambition and desire to become successful, but they don't have all the pieces put together. And so that's what I want this channel to be about, this organization to be about, helping people put the pieces together who don't have somebody to kind of guide them, don't have that mentor to help them along. And so I'm interested to see that we have very similar genesis stories about how we started out.
Yeah, because I've been there, and and this show is not like a lot of. I'm not gonna step on their toes here. I hope I don't. But a lot of Black organizations, people who do what the Black Business League will do, will actually just showcase and have everybody come on, tell me how much money they make, how rich they are, how many millions they made, all the contracts they have, and don't relate to the person who's saying, well, it's just me and me and my wife, or me and a partner trying to struggle to get off the ground. And they don't really, and a lot of these organizations will never be relatable to you. I mean, if you are a billionaire, maybe your lifestyle I can't imagine. But if you're a Black billionaire, I don't relate you any better to a white billionaire, okay? If they're the same color, if you got the same attitudes, is that what you're thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this show is to give you some kind of avenue of hope, because when you have so many doors slammed in your face, when you have many doors say, well, you don't matter, when you have people saying, you ain't gonna make it, I mean, you can get the spirit beat out of you. I actually, as I said, I had students in my class who actually had their spirits crushed by family members.
Wow.
Where they had great business ideas, and the family members said to them, how many, you're a Black man, you can't run no business. You better go out and get a job and work for somebody else. I mean, you would know. I mean, don't be realistic. You can't have no business. You can't run no business.
Wow.
I mean, and the people actually have believed that and dropped out the course. I mean, this one guy had a great business idea, and I was trying to tell him you can get off the ground for a little bit of money. But his family told him, "You can't make it. Look who you are. You're just a poor little black guy. You ain't never gonna be no business owner." And he had the ambition actually crushed out of him. Out of him.
Wow.
And that's my inspiration. That if you like that, maybe you can't get $1 million, $100,000, but maybe you can work in your credit. Maybe you can get 20, 25,000, which would have set him up for a really good business. Where he really could have been profitable with that. So, I can look at people. I can relate to them. I mean, like you said, you got. I hate to say this. I'm a score mentor. I went through the same experience with the score here in my area. Wow. And they did so many people, but they shut the whole darn thing down. They just closed the score chapter for 10 years. So they said, "You're helping nobody." Wow. You're crushing the spirit. You're crushing the spirit, people's spirit. And you are a black person. You don't have that much encouragement in some instances. You don't have that many places to turn. And I hope people will actually tune into the show, because at least 1 hour a week, you got some place to turn.
Yeah.
At least 1 hour. I mean, you got at least 1 hour where somebody says, "You can make it. We can help you make it." But we have so many negative things that are coming into our community, into our lives, that will say, "You can't make it." I mean, like my students said, "Well, how many black people you know in business? Successful people in business. Why do you think you can make it? You can't make it. You're a little black guy. You don't have no big education. You don't have nothing like this." So,
and you know what? I think it's important to point out that, because somebody said something about Georgia. Guys, for those of you watching, I know you watch from all over the country, but we're based out of Georgia. Is where our headquarters are. We're a national organization. We got members in every state, but we're based in Georgia. And somebody said something about Georgia. They said, "I want people to understand Atlanta is not Georgia," right? And so in Atlanta, we've got organizations, people, we got a black mayor, we got, it's just Chocolate City, okay? And you feel empowered. You walk around, you see these neighborhoods, super rich neighborhoods where it's just all black folks. And so you can feel good about yourself, and you can see examples of successful people everywhere. But you go outside of Atlanta and you start experiencing Georgia. Atlanta is not Georgia, right? So that's why we have the governor that we have. That's why we have Senate. You got to understand. So across the country, there are these pockets where you don't get the support that you might expect. If you've got great support and you see examples of people everywhere that are black and that are successful, good for you. But what we're talking about is that across the country, I've talked to people in Texas and Utah and all these other places where they're like, I feel alone. Like, I'm a black person trying to be enterprising in business, and I don't really have that connection. I don't really have that support. And so BlackBusinessList.com is an organization that kind of gathers up people who are in this tribe, who are like, I'm trying to be successful. And it's just that where I am, I don't have a whole lot of support. But you join an organization like this, and we can connect 1,000 people in this city, 500 people over here, 200 people over there, and we come together and we're this strong force that is really together to help support one another. And that's what BBL is all about.
Well, I agree. And, I'm one of the places outside of Atlanta where, you do have some support, but it is not where people are beating the doors down trying to get you in business, okay? And, and a lot of I hate to say this, but that attitude that you can make as a Black business person is very pervasive in the Black community. And a lot of Black people don't want to deal with another Black business for some reason. I mean, I have run into it where, wait a minute, if the grandson of the guy who formed a bank, he's been a bank of 100 years. If he tells me there's no money out there for me, there's no money out there for me. And, and I'm saying, well, what he's saying isn't true. I mean, there is money out there for you. But, are they going to break my legs if I don't, if I can't do the money back? It's something. I said, no. I mean, it's a legitimate source of money that non-Black people have been using for thousands and thousands of years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alternative finance. I mean, the Pilgrims used alternative finance to finance the Mayflower voyage, okay? What no bank gave it to them. It was a alternative finance solution, okay? Mm-hmm. It's thousands of years old. And what we have to do is really open our minds. I mean, as I said, I fell into it. I didn't know anything about it until my students asked for research, and I started doing research, and it took me a long time to find some company that would do unsecured funding. I mean, that was a revelation for me. I said, wait a minute. I have a mechanism where somebody, if they get their credit in a certain position, have income, they can go in and sign their name on a document and get $30,000, $40,000, $100,000, $200,000 in their bank account in 2 weeks. That's unheard of. With no collateral. That's unheard of. I mean, this was something I kissed a lot of frogs to get to a position where I could offer this. Mm-hmm. And this is a situation where people don't take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. Everybody can't get it, but everybody can get a roadmap to get them. I mean, yesterday, what's the date? Tuesday. I spent all day yesterday going back to people who couldn't get funding, telling them you gotta do A, B, C, D to get this money.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I like the fact that you don't leave people hanging. If they don't qualify, you're able to actually coach them through the next steps. It's not no forever. It's just no right now. And so you don't just leave them out there. Like when I left the SCORE office, I felt dejected. I felt like, man, I don't have it together. I'm not going to get funding or any of that. You will help people through this. Like, okay, look, yes, it's a no right now, but let me tell you what you need to do so that it is a yes. And so as long as you got somebody that's going to keep it real with you and help you through the process, that's all you need. You don't need somebody to lie or to get you to lie. You don't want anybody to say, well, hey, I can get you that money. All you got to do is put this on your form and then blah. No, you don't want to go down that road.
No.
The jail is full of people like that. Okay. But you want somebody that's going to say, hey, look, legally, here's what you need to do. And if you do X, Y, and Z, then in 6 months or whatever, we can get you that money that you need to grow your business or to start your business.
Literally, that's what I did all day yesterday. I was dealing with people who actually got rejected, who could not reject it, but didn't qualify. And we talked about what their issues were, and I gave them the link to go to work on their deficiencies to get them funded. Now, whether or not they actually do it or not, they said they were going to do it, but that's up to them. But I'm doing this show, as you said, because, if you're making $4 or $5 million and got like millions of dollars of government contracts and a whole bunch of different offices, and you need some money, yes, I get some money for you. But a lot of people don't have anywhere to turn and don't have any resources for you. And you don't maybe have the political structure that is out there trying to encourage you to start a business, and don't have, and I know I said this before. See what your needs are. Don't get enough money to get yourself in trouble. Don't get enough money to start something and be out of business in 3 or 4, 6 months. We've all seen it. You've all seen it where you got a restaurant that opens up, and you go there, then you go there again, they close. We've seen all kinds of businesses where it might be a store, a restaurant, whatever, mechanic shop, whatever. They just disappear because they don't have the funds to maintain it long term.
Yeah, I think it's important that I want to bring out is that when you're in business, and especially if you got a small staff, you're starting out small, usually the business owners, you're wearing a lot of hats.
Right.
And, that's expected. We know that that's the case. But you need to make sure that you have somebody that's competent that can help advise you. You need a consultant. You need somebody outside of yourself that can give you a bird's eye view of what's going on with your business, because you're going to be running around servicing customers. You're going to be running around coming up with ideas and new products and services. And I got to do this, I got to do that. And so you need somebody that's watching you, looking at your business and say, hey, look, I see you spending a whole lot of time over here, but you're going to run out of money by next quarter. I'm looking at what's going on here, and it's not trending in the right direction. So you need to be ahead of that, stay on top of the game. You need a consultant, get you a consultant, somebody on board who's going to take a bird's eye view, look at what you got going on, be honest about your numbers. All right. Because we're always going to look at the world through rose colored glasses. We're going to be like, oh, I could just make, extra $5,000 next month and that'll cover this bill and that bill. And so your consultant might say, okay, that sounds great. Now, what's going to happen if that does not happen? What's your plan B? Or what's your plan C? Or what, you need somebody helping you through these decisions that you make on a daily basis to give you a better chance of success. Again, what we're combating is this huge statistic. I think it's 90 something percent of businesses fail? Like they start? It's a huge number, right? Let's keep it real.
That's debatable. I think it's like 80 to 90%. But I don't know.
Which is still big.
It's still a lot of businesses, though. And a lot of them fail because they're undercapitalized, number one. And number two, they don't really plan.
Right.
As I tell my students, why need a business plan? I said, well, if you're going to drive from Georgia to Seattle, Washington, for example, but we got highways, but there are no signs. You can jump in your car and say the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So you're just going to jump in your car and head west with no signs on the highway, just going to drive and drive and drive.
Right.
I mean, you may run out of gas some point in time. You may run out of food. We'll have a breakdown. You might end up in Wyoming during a blizzard. I mean, which happens a lot. I mean, so, but you do need to know, or how much gas am I going to have to buy to get from Georgia to Seattle?
Right.
What's the price of gas? I might want a bite to eat. I might just stay over somewhere. And by having enough money to get yourself in trouble, I'm talking about if you think, well, I'm going to need $2,000, $3,000 to make it, just on gas, whatever, and you got $200 in your pocket, and you get on the road anyway. You're setting yourself up to get stranded and hurt, whatever. What we're trying to say here is that make the $2,000 first before you take the trip.
Yeah, and, I think what and folks, if you're watching, if you want to interject and add to this conversation, feel free to leave a comment. But I think what happens is that people say, well, if you're in business, you got to have faith. You got to take a leap of faith. And I know I ain't got it, but God got me the rest of the way. I'm going this amount, and then God going to catch me, and he going to allow me to flourish. And so that's great. You do need to have positive thinking as an entrepreneur. But at the same time, you have to be a realist in a sense that, like you said earlier, you don't want to set yourself up for failure. And so God also gave you intellect. And God gave you the ability to plan. And he put people in your life that can be consultants. And these are the things we're saying that, yes, have faith, take a leap, but you got to have a good plan when you take that leap, right? Because the statistics are showing us that many people have the ability to start the business. The numbers are there. People start the business, but what we're not seeing is that people are able to maintain the business and grow the business. And so that's where the lack of planning is evident, right? Yes. We all have the faith. We take the leap. We get the first amount of money. We get the LLC. We get everything set up. We got the bank account. We got our business cards. We got a sign. I'm in business, right? We're happy. We tell all our friends, all right? But you took the first step, but that's not the whole story. You need to have a plan. And constantly look at your plan. And you know what? It's not just good enough to have a plan. You got to actually work with the plan. The plan may need to be modified as you go along, right? So I think that these conversations are important. If you or anybody else that you know is in a similar situation, if you're an entrepreneur and you're kind of alone, solopreneur is what we call it, this is your group. This is your tribe. These are your people. Mr. Ron takes minutes out of his day every single Wednesday to come on here, and he's available for if you have any questions, comments. I just need support. If you just need somebody to say, hey, look, I just need to talk to somebody. We're here for you every single Wednesday at 12:15, and we go live for this live stream. So if you're in the comments, if you watch this on a replay, feel free to support us. And hey, just give us a like, give us a share, because we're human beings too. And we take time out. We go live every Wednesday. We want to know, is anybody actually watching this? Is anybody actually getting any value from this? We're human beings, just the same way you're a human being. We're here to support you, and we like for you to support us as well. It's a two-way street, because everybody learns how to do that, especially within the context of BlackBusinessList.com. Almost 2,000 people join this business directory. They're together. They're in this group. If we learn how to support, what can stop us if we're together as a group and we support one another? Hey, there's my brother from BBL going live right now. Let me like his post. Let me make a comment. Let me share his post. Hey, this is what this member's got going on. They're going to do the exact same thing for you when it's time to promote your business, right? It's give and take. Not enough people understand that. Too many people are observers, and they just sit back and watch, and they don't take action. right? The world is built off of people who take action, right? So support. One way that you can support, you don't have to actually buy the product, but you can share the link. You can share a post. You can say, hey, look, this person is doing something great. Here's a link, right?
Right.
So these are the types of things we need to think about. And Mr. Ron, I appreciate you. If anybody else don't say it, I appreciate you for.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm not trying to say it's easy. You gotta be patient. A lot of people just get tired of the struggle and give up. But I've been there. Okay, I think we've all been there, and where nobody thinks you can do it. You're on your own. You got some pretty lonely hours when you're sitting by yourself. You're an entrepreneur thinking, well, how am I going? How am I going to make this? How am I going? What am I going to do? I made this mistake. You got your co-host laughing at you for throwing away money and doing stuff. And so just sit down and get off. So just almost feel like crying, say, "Well, I can't get that money back."
Oh my!
And so all you can do is try and move on. Try and move on. It's not going to be easy, but nothing is easy. I mean, I guess when I finished school, when I graduated, I had a sense of accomplishment because it was hard. I mean, they just didn't take me in there and say, here's your degree or whatever. And sometimes you need to struggle because you feel a sense of accomplishment. Once you go through the struggle, it makes you, more galvanized. And now a lot of things I give you advice on stuff is because I made the mistake. I did the wrong thing. So I know that don't work because I tried that. So I know a lot of mistakes that were made, many mistakes, that were made. But I guess the primary reason for this show is that I want to give people a chance to say, hey, I can do it. I have an outlet. There is a path for success. I can get the money I need. Hey, I've been working at this job and it don't happen as much as it used to be, but I've known situations where you have a bunch of black people working on a job. A white guy comes in, he's suddenly your boss because he knows somebody else. And you're saying, well, he teach me everything I know. He making more than me, but everything that he knows, I taught him, but I can't get to that upper level because he's the boss's friend's son, or the boss's girlfriend, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've been working at this job, and I may want to go on my own. And just don't quit your job. Go out and make some plans and say, well, hey, I need $50,000 to start my own business and go out on my own. We can do it for you.
Yes.
We can do it for you. I mean, no, you're not going to walk into the bank and say, I got all this experience, I got all this knowledge, I got all these plans, I need $50,000. They're going to say, go away. You don't have no business. You're a startup. We don't do startups. With the consolidation of banking, I don't know how it is in your area, but banks will not want to deal with small people anymore. I mean, like some banks, if you're not talking 6-7 figures, they really don't have any, any time for you. I mean, some banks around here just close the doors, so they want you to go to the ATM. They don't want to spend money having an open bank.
Yeah.
So if they don't want you in there to make a deposit, you know they're going to give you any money. So I'm not trying to ramble, but I'm trying to say you have a pathway to success if you want to take it. And Maybe that's never happened to you, but I know it's happened to people that I know, where it's happened to me, where somebody who was white person was non-qualified, came in after me, working on jobs. You walk in, they're your foreman, now they're your boss.
Yeah.
And you say, well,
Yeah.
wait a minute now. I taught them everything they know. Why is it just because they look like the boss, they certainly more qualified than me, when I showed them everything that they know how to do?
My.
And I don't know if it's been anybody that's experienced out there, but that's a bitter pill to swallow. That's a pretty bitter, because that's a pretty bitter pill to swallow, where you got 3 or 4 years on the job, somebody comes in, after 6 months, they're your boss.
Now they're the boss.
Now they're the boss.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
it happens. Well, again, folks, we're hitting about a little over an hour, and we're getting ready to end the show. But we want you to know that if you have an idea, if you want to start a business and you need money to start the business, if you're in business and you're struggling, well, I won't say if you're struggling, but if you're in business and you know you need capital, because I can't think of many businesses where you don't need capital. I think any business I can think of, you need consistent access to capital outside of your profits for various things that may happen. You know, something may pop up and you need a repair. You're humming along, you're making good money, but something breaks down, you need a repair. The pandemic, look at what happened with the whole reason the payroll protection plan was created was because this unexpected thing happened and it derailed a lot of business owners' plans. And so you need access to capital. In this case, the government bails you out, but a lot of times you can set something up to where you can bail yourself out, or you can set yourself up to where you can grow and absorb a lot of risks just because you're so big. So, think big, don't think small. Get as big as you can. If you're in business, I think that should be your goal. Get as big as you can. Don't be satisfied with being small, because when you're small, things can happen. People can take you out of business. They can take over your business, take over your market share. So, Mr. Ron is here. You can apply at bbl.cashtofund.net and get access to capital. Maybe you get approved and you don't take the loan now. I don't know. I would take the loan, but just find out. Get approved and start a relationship with Mr. Ron. Fill out the paperwork. There's no hard credit check on your credit. The process is pretty straightforward. Mr. Ron will talk you through the whole thing. So go ahead and get access to this private money. Great rates. Everything Mr. Ron meticulously has gone through, a lot of the vendors, so to speak, the banks, and he's your guy. He's your go-between, your middleman between the money and your business. All right. So, Mr. Ron, thank you so much for being here and being welcome. A part of this show.
Great to be here. And we'll try and do it next week. I really encourage people to at least call in and give us some feedback, to know that we are helping somebody. Because everybody's trying to make money. Everybody's trying to promote what they're trying to do, but there are a lot more direct things that we could do. I know I can do that, to do things than to do a broadcast where we're just saying apply for money. I think that we're trying to do this as a service to people. We really are, because we all share stories today about how we felt when we had a door slammed in our face. There's nothing worse than having a door slammed in your face or to be disrespected. I would rather somebody just say we can't help you, rather than sit in your office and ignore you for a half hour, talk on the phone about something, which happened to me. And And it doesn't. It's not necessarily a race because it was a black guy who did it. Okay, it was a black man who was on the phone the whole time, and it was. But I knew I wasn't gonna get any help. Didn't get any help. But
Yeah.
also a black man who did get me some money, dude, because he actually has co-signed the loan for me. So
Yeah.
so 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 it's not. But we have an avenue to help you for it. But use the Black to Fund, Black Business List opportunities to really help yourself. Okay.
All right, Mr. Ron. Well, thank you so much, man. It's been great.
Okay.
Always great to have you on and to talk about these topics. And so,
All right.
And if you're watching this, especially for those of you watching in the replay, and if you got that email in your email box from BlackBusinessList.com saying we're going live today, there was a link where you could join and get on air and you can talk about your business, right? So this is also another opportunity for you to get a little free advertising for your business. So don't take it lightly. It's this is watched by quite a few number of people, and we're going to be expanding our advertising. And so just a little heads up that these shows will be getting a lot of views. We're going to be doing some things to really get a lot of views. And so you want to be a part of it, right? And be proud of your association with BlackBusinessList.com, because this Negro ain't stopping. All right.
Sure.
So this Negro right here, BBL, yeah. Till the wheels fall off.
All right.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. We're going to get out of here. We're going to see you next week. Make sure that you tune in. Tell everybody you know, like, share, all that stuff. You're watching the BBLTV Money Show on BBLTV Money. All right. Thanks, Mr. Ron. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Let's go.